Alright guys, so today's video is going to be on the Industrias Lorenzo Euro stick and what it's going to have to take in order to cut it down to fit it within your arcade 1-up unit. What I'm going to be doing is cutting into these circles here and cut the whole edge completely. So it looks something like this. This is a clone, Hap clone, Hap Super or Hap Ultimate, some sort of clone. But I'm going to be using this also as a guideline. I'm going to tape this on top. But before I even do that, let me show you how to disassemble it. And what you're going to want to do is get your smaller screwdriver bit and just unscrew off the your switches. And all this stuff is actually really easy to do. I recommend taking pictures probably of your joystick before you disassemble it, so that way you can remember how to put it back together. First, I'm gonna set the joystick down, right? Pulling the unit down. And I don't know why I always refer to these things as units, but that's kind of funny. But then I'm gonna push down on the actuator, which is being weighted down by the spring, or being pushed up by the spring. And then I wedge this in between and gently just push away. And it comes off really easily. As long as you put enough force down to push down on the actuator, there will be no issue. Take that off and your stick comes off, right? So this is your pivot. So after you do that, you switch back to you switch to your bigger screwdriver bit and you take these off. It just comes off. So this is your spring on the inside. Alright, so now that we've taken apart the joystick, we're gonna go outside. I'm gonna tape these two things together like that, and I'm gonna use this as a template. I'm gonna tape this with electrical tape, and then I'm gonna take a handsaw and cut it. Alright guys, so I have already cut this side of the unit, and this is what it looks like. Now to cut part 2 or the other side. But this one I'm going to film so you guys can see how it's done or whatever. I'm going to be using a saw, a hand saw. Now when doing this, you want to be very careful not to cut yourself, not to cut your leg or anything like that. Don't want to saw off my own thumb. I need those for Halo. Alright. That's it. Cut down Industrias Lorenzo. Let's get to the next spot. Alright guys, so in this next segment, you see that I didn't cut the cover or whatever straight, the plate, but oh wow, I completely cut off the circle on this side. On this side is still there. But at any rate, what's more important is the fact that I'm going to be using these screw holes. And next is with all this jagged plastic. I mean, you can use it like as is, but I recommend, like others have recommended, to sand down the sides so you can get all that loose plastic off. You're not trying to make it look elegant or anything. After all, no one's gonna see it. You just want to get all that plastic off so you have a cleaner plate to work with once you put it in the unit. But I also want to take the time to tell you that now that you own your arcade 1-up, you are the operator, the maintenance guy, the owner, like anything and everything associated with taking care of an arcade machine to a degree is inherited within the arcade 1-up unit, at least at the most in regards to its control panel and its controls. Alright guys, so now you've seen me cut down the plate. Now it's time to reassemble this thing. And how is it done? How do you do that? I need to put in this heavy duty spring first from the bottom. and then the spring holder or the tension point or whatnot, and then orientation in this back plate does not matter. What does matter is the alignment. So you can rotate it this way. It's all gonna align at any point, but you just need to get the screw heads or the screw holes aligned. All right. Now you don't want to over tighten. Remember, this is metal and this is plastic. As you just saw when we, sawed this, metal beats plastic. So be careful and not over screwing anything. Now I'm going to put the stick back in. The reason why I'm not going to put in the switches, because I can do that, is because I want some room in order to hold down the actuator in order to mount the E-ring and clip it on with the pliers. Alright? And then push down. Put the E-ring in place ever so slightly, and then use the pliers to just clip it back. Don't know if the camera saw that, but yeah. See? Now we put on the switches. Don't worry, it's how it's supposed to go. And yeah, boom. Industrias Lorenzo. Look at my horrible cut. But player 2 is going to be pulling off some cool moves now. Alright guys, so real quick. I used to have sound wall sticks. So I bought the DIY Retro Arcade sound wall adapter. But then I went to Focus Attack and I bought a 5-pin to 187 conversion harness, and that's what you see here. Now on my player 1, I crimped all of my own cables from beginning to end, from the JST HX connector to the Spade 187 connector. And so when lining up the joystick, it doesn't matter on this side because I know where the cables go, right? But on this one from Focus Attack, they use a daisy chain ground wire, and then each corresponding color here is an action. I used 2 existing holes, this one and this one, in order to screw it in. Now these screws, you're gonna find the link for that in the comment suggested to me by the legendary Retro Ralph. Alright, so that was a really cool suggestion, and it helped me a whole ton. So thinking about it, what I'm actually going to do is unscrew these switches. The smartest thing I can do is just plug them all in, and then start up the game, go into the test phase, the test menu. Alright guys, so in this next segment, like I mentioned earlier in the last one, is I'm going to be using the input test on Marvel vs. Capcom, and to figure out which switch does what, we're going to plug in a switch. So you use these 2 switches, or these 2 prongs, that's it. Now black on this 5-pin harness, the black is a common ground, and each of these colored cables is an action. Now I didn't know which action does what, but I was like, you know what, it doesn't even matter, because I can just plug it in, and then hit the switch and see what actuates over here. So that's down, this is my down, so this is going to go down, so this is going to go up. So down, when you're upside down, your down is up, and your up is down. Okay, so now that we got the switch in after some technical difficulties, now this is all temporary because at the end of the day I still have to crimp player 2's cables, and that's going to give me all the luxury to be able to customize and think about where I want to put the cables and terminate them and make them how long do I want to make them. But we got down registered. Right? Now we got down registered. Okay? So let's figure out what the next switch is. So next are these 2. It's probably left. It's right. So it's left. So I'm right. because when you go left, your stick goes right. Right? I mean, this is incredibly easy. That's one of the things I love about these cherry switches and getting their setups. When I had to figure out the wiring for these buttons, where it goes what, I don't have to switch out the buttons. I just take off the switch and put it in the right section. So now we got down and left here. And that's it. Remember, don't over tighten. Metal beats plastic. Alright, everything works. Now I do have a slight issue here that I can see. And you can see here, now this is kind of difficult to get sometimes, but the stick is not too centered. So I'm going to have to redo it. Now that's why I'm glad I didn't screw it in all 4 screws or anything like that, because there could be a potential that I could have got this wrong. That's why also I don't have the dishwasher. And so that's an easy fix, alright? The stick is now properly centered, and like I told you before, you put your dust washer in first, and then this pivot point all the way through, down to the other side. Now the actuator stayed on. All I need is the C-clip. Now, now apparently this actuator is mounted to the actual plastic piece here, and not to anything else. So it's not mounted to the stick. So when you press down, you're not pressing down on the stick. You're pressing down on the plastic portion, and that's it. Get your E-ring in as much as possible. You press down and then clip. That's it. Marvel versus Capcom, all with Industrias Lorenzo joysticks and half competition. Now, real quick, what makes a half competition button a half competition button is the convex button tops. That and the softer spring. So when you see somebody with convex or concave buttons that are the classic arcade buttons, and they're calling them that half competition buttons, that's incorrect. And this is what the bottom side looks like, and yeah, that's it. So red Industrial Lorenzo Euro 8-way joysticks with half competition buttons, and that's it. Well, hey guys, thanks for tuning in for today's video, or yesterday's video. Regardless though, it wasn't necessarily a how to add IL sticks to your arcade 1up. It was kind of more of a what I had to do to get them on here. And from being able to see that, you can then extrapolate and change things however you see fit, however is safe for you. And please tune in for the future, because the next set of videos is going to be on the class of 1981. Fight! Good.